Society
included the Heruli, the Vandals, and the Ostrogoths. Well, they don't exist anymore because when the Pope came to power, they used their army and plucked them up. They overthrew them. So now you get those remaining 7. And it says, another beast comes up out of the earth. Well, this first beast came up out of the sea, greatly populated areas around the Mediterranean. And it's got 2 horns like a lamb. Lamb, good. Dragon, bad. Now, lamb is Christ. You have him in earlier Revelation 4 and 5. And 2 horns would be, these are 2 powers. They don't have crowns on the horns. The 2 powers would be, we've got a government without a king, and we've got religion without a pope. Freedom of government and to be self-governed, and freedom of religion. And that's what the world flowed to this country because they wanted those freedoms, those self-evident freedoms. And God created America to be a refuge for people that were fleeing persecution. Go ahead. I know that this is really hard for us, for Carlos, not to jump in because he does this whole thing by himself. And
with my eyes closed.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say an important point that I think is good too. It shows the timeline where the papacy lost its political power, and then at the same time, this power is kind of losing its political power. You have this new power rising up. I mean, it's crystal clear.
Yeah, and we'll get to this later in the presentation, but I'll address it very quickly. It tells us 3 times in Revelation the time that this power would rule with uninterrupted power before the deadly wound. It calls it 42 months. It calls it a times and half the time, and it calls it 1,260 days. It's all the same period of time. And a day in prophecy is a year, so that's 1,260 years. 538, you go 1260, comes to 1790. That's when the Pope was arrested in Rome by Napoleon's general. Rome had the birth of atheism. They didn't really care at that point. And Napoleon, you have to understand his power. He swept across Europe. No one was going to oppose him back then. And no one else could have done that. He was so powerful, he sold us 1/3 of the United States. If you folks are wondering, there's a whole other sermon there. I won't get into it right now. But even though we had our Constitution in 1776, our Declaration of Independence, we were not recognized by the world powers as an independent country until about 1798. So just as they were losing their power, we were growing into an international juggernaut.
And that was the Spanish-American War, when the United States defeated Spain, and there's a new chief in town.
That's right. So, and it says that, what does this second beast, the United States, do? He exercises all the authority. This is where he goes from lamb to dragon. He exercises the authority of the first beast in his presence. Now notice